What's going on, everybody? Welcome to season 4, episode 5 of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
I'm with your co-host Mo. What is that, people?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. Just to give you guys a heads up, this Saturday is Backlash, and we will be live and in person for our spaces. So be sure to join us. I have to figure out the time of the pay-per-view, but like 15 minutes before the pay-per-view starts is when we usually start our spaces. So if you want to join online, head over to Twitter at Culture316. Join me and Mo. It's going to be a fun time as per usual. But we're going to get this show right on the road. So first things first, it's official. Trinity Fatu, formerly known as Naomi, is in Impact Wrestling, and it looks like she's going after the World Championship and the World Champion Indiana Purrazzo. However, in a recent interview, Trinity opened up about her WWE departure, saying that the way that she was talked to and was handled contributed to some of the reasons as to why she departed from WWE. She went on to talk about how her time in WWE felt like the lowest part of her wrestling career. So I wanted to know first and foremost, how do you feel about Trinity's debut, her immediate inclusion into the main event picture, and some of her comments that she had to say about her WWE departure?
Shout out to my dad's vocals are picking up in the background. So yeah, no, regards to Trinity, I honestly love the way that she conducted herself because she kind of just addressed the elephant in the room, but she went about it in a classy way without so much dragging them and pretty much putting it out there saying that yeah, I left on my own terms. To see the thing about Trinity that like I feel so strongly about is how people lovely, lovely. How disgusting I picked it up. Anyways, going back to what I was saying with Trinity, the thing that I've been seeing for like the last couple of weeks that's been making me very upset is people acting like Trinity doesn't have like a brain cell of her
Mm.
own, that she only left due to Mercedes, and that she wanted to do as a joint thing, just go wherever she goes and ride off of her charisma, her power that she has. And I like the fact that she just kind of like just stomped out
Mm.
everything where everyone was just saying that yeah she just did it for her. She just straight up said yeah, I didn't like my own treatment, I don't like the way I was being presented the last couple of years, and that me coming to Impact was a very much a me choice, not because it was a last option, not because I'm
Right.
desperate, but because I want to be here. And I love that. I love the way that she presented herself. I like the way Impact actually presented her and put her right away in the title picture, because although a lot of people don't like that, because she's an outsider coming the inside. But I think, as Jordan put it last week, this is very much needed for Impact. She is the star power going into Impact, and she knows that. And I feel like she takes herself seriously. So although I did shade Impact last week, I know I shaded it. Jordan pretty much enlightened me, if you will, on the benefits of her going over there. Not that she needs the uplifting, but Impact itself needs
Mm.
the facelift. Not that the women's division sucks, but the brand itself is kind of musty. I'm not gonna hold you, but her going over there is going to give it the facelift that
Mm.
it needs. So I like what she's doing, because what Sasha's doing over there in Stardom, bring attention to Stardom. Trinity's doing that over
Yeah.
there, and she's going somewhere where most importantly above all, she is feeling like she's appreciated and she's gonna be taken seriously. Because I don't think she was taken seriously for the last decade of
Mm.
her career. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship once, and then the Tag Team Championship, not the Divas Championship. She didn't win a Royal Rumble, even though that's literally her specialty. Um, I hope that honestly she is happy where she's at, and I can't wait to see what she does in
Mm.
Impact. But what did you think about her response and how she was presented in Impact,
So
Jordan?
for starters, I think, like you said, her response was perfect. It was spot on. I love how she addressed kind of the elephant in the room, the biggest issue in the room, as it pertained to her treatment with WWE. And I'm noticing a trend, right? Mercedes wasn't. I guess Mercedes didn't like the way that she was treated. Um, I guess Naomi didn't like the way that she was treated. Um, and so I think from there, like you said, you have to go where you are appreciated, where you are wanted, where you are desired. And I think that that's what she's doing with Impact Wrestling. I feel like they want her there. And because they want her there, she is going to make an immediate impact because they're going to do what's necessary to highlight her as the star that she is. And I'm very, very happy about that. I'm very, very happy that she's going to be in an environment where I know that she can thrive. Speaking of environment where I know that she can thrive, shout outs to Mercedes for popping out and supporting her girl. I that brought a smile. That
Yo, flying over from
flying
Japan
from Japan
just to
is flying from Japan to support your best friend. That's real. That's a real best friend. So
hustle.
seeing, uh, Mercedes pop out, show support. I think that it is that was just a beautiful thing to see. And like you said, what Mercedes is doing in New Japan is what Trinity is doing in Impact Wrestling. She is bringing in an immense amount of star power because I feel like it's interesting, kind of what I'm trying to find a good comparison to it, but I don't want to like compare what Trinity is doing to anything in the past because I feel like it would be too dramatic and taken out of context. But what I will say is that the women's division in Impact is strong. Like it's one of those things that it's like a basketball team that just needs a star player. Like they have their role players, they have their vets, but they don't have a star. And I feel like Trinity is that star. They have great in-ring technicians, they have high flyers, they have powerful women, they have legends. But Trinity, I believe, is going to be filling that star role. Actually, very similar to how Kurt Angle was when he came into Impact Wrestling in 2006, when Impact was kind of like at its peak, right? They had Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and they had all these great wrestlers, and they had this great mix of talent, but they just didn't have the notable face that can draw attention to the product. So I think that what Trinity is actually doing in Impact is similar to kind of what Kurt was doing to Impact when he went and joined TNA years ago. So
I love that you brought that up because I saw on Twitter that a lot of people made that comparison, but some of the black community was not saying, they were not jacking that. They were saying that it's not the same thing. They were saying that it's different because, I mean, Kurt Angle, he was pretty much held to a high
mhm,
regard throughout his whole WWE run. Even if like he wasn't in the title picture, he was still taken pretty like seriously, like in terms of like maybe his matches, even though he was a goofy character or a serious character. Whereas with Trent, she like was rarely properly represented, or every time like she was getting some momentum, they kind of stopped off whatever storyline she had going and didn't really allow that much development with her character or give her the amount of title runs or pay-per-view um uh focused segments or matches. So I'm happy that you kind of brought
mm.
that up
I, I, I,
because you're on the opposite end.
I think it was on Twitter where I saw it. As far as like the that comparison, I thought that was actually perfect, but I was like, should I say it? I don't
Hmm.
know, but
No, I love that you addressed it. That's actually interesting. We're on different ends
exact
with that.
exacto mundo. But anyway, we're gonna move on. But before we move on, just want to let y'all know, like, if y'all have any comments about Trinity being in Impact Wrestling, let us know in the comments below how you feel about this. I'm very, very excited and happy for her. But we're gonna move on. So speaking of wrestling outside of WWE, All Elite Wrestling made some headlines this past week because they were able to sell, I believe, 36,000 tickets in a first day pre-sale for All In, which will be in London, which is in Wembley Stadium. I'm gonna see if I can actually pull up the official ticket numbers, um, because they sold a good amount. Um, AEW All In ticket numbers, yes. So uh, they sold it. Tony Khan announced that they actually sold. My number was off. My apologies. That within the 32 hours of pre-sales, the event passed 43,000 tickets sold, which generated about 5.7 million US dollars. That's 4.5 million British pound, I believe. If all the tickets that were purchased are actually going to be, that's if it's translated into attendance, that means that there will be more people in attendance for AEW All In than at WCW Monday Nitro's Georgia Dome show in 1998, which I believe had like 30 something thousand people. Georgia Dome is a football stadium, so in comparison, it's kind of like it's insane. But I just wanted to know kind of like your takeaway from this All In buzz and this excitement and the numbers that they're already doing.
That is mind-boggling. I mean, AEW I never like expected to flop. I feel like when it comes down to every single pay-per-view minus Revolution, they always do a really good job. Like, bro, I remember when I tried getting my all-out tickets like back in 2019, and like my computer done crashed because I was trying to get the tickets. You know what I mean? So I'm really like not too surprised, but that's honestly like a big W for AEW. Like that is insane to me. So, but what is the total number? You said 36,000
43.
people bought tickets?
43,000
43.
43,000 tickets sold in
Jesus
32 hours.
Christ. Jesus, that's really good. That's like a record right
That is.
there. Yeah, what do you think
I
about
think
it?
that it's beautiful. Um, First of all, I saw somebody on Twitter said this. This is pretty good for, a t-shirt company as a joke. But like yeah, like All Elite Rest AEW is killing it right now. And I think that this was a very, very smart choice to have it in a place like Wembley Stadium, which is celebrating their 100th anniversary this year, I believe. In a town like London, in a city like London that loves wrestling. Like we've talked over and over and over again about how we anticipated WWE to do a show in the UK, and when we saw the success of it at Clash at the Castle, I think it shows the United Kingdom's love for pro wrestling. And I think this is just like another sign of that. Like going over there, doing 43,000 tickets in 32 hours is no easy accomplishment. I believe my guess. I believe that they can do 50,000 or better for the show, and it's a 90,000 seat stadium. But just the fact that they're able to sell 43,000 tickets is it's berserk. That's twice the size of an average arena. Like that's two Madison Square Gardens for a show. Like that's insane when you put it into context. And I think it just goes to show you the growth of All Elite Wrestling, the talent that they have. Also, I feel like it's a testament to the excitement surrounding some of the rumors surrounding AEW right now with Punk and all this other stuff. I just think that it's a very, very exciting time for AEW, and they should be very, very
Do you
proud.
think this is
Huh?
happening because of Punk? Do you think that these numbers were because of Punk? Like, what would you think contributed to the numbers that we're
I
seeing
think
now?
for starters, I don't remember. I don't think there's ever been an AEW show in London. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's been an All Elite Wrestling show in London. And I feel like the habit has it that whenever they go into foreign territory or whenever they go to some place that they haven't been before, they have a really big reception. Case in point, when they came to LA and they did the Forum, they had a great reception. When they came to New York City the first time, great reception. When we talked about their Canada tour, because they did a show in Canada, great reception. So I feel like anytime All Elite Wrestling goes into a new area that they haven't done a show in before, that they're going to do well regardless. Now, as far as it being tied to Punk, I think that has partly to do with that, because you think about it. When CM Punk reappeared, um, this was his first time on a TV product and on wrestling TV product in about 7 years, which means that if it's been 7 years since we've seen him on TV, if it's been 7 years since we've seen him in a ring in the US, that means that it's been even longer for international fans. So I think that
All right, Dad.
the just like the whole trajectory of the whole speculation around his return has definitely generated some interest, and I think that is definitely a reason as to why that could happen. Do you think that Punk's return is a reason why?
Honestly, yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean, he was driving the numbers the first couple of years because people were wondering was he ever going to like come. And I mean, despite the fact that he's done a lot, he's been he has done what he did as in regards of All Out for 2022. He has like a big fan
Mm,
base. Like regardless what I think, even though I'm still on the other end where I'm just like still
yeah.
screw him. There he still has a lot of fans, a lot of people who are only invested in the product because of Punk. Like he has a lot of power and a lot of pull, as much as I don't want to admit it. So just the idea of like, or how they're going to bring this man back and what's he gonna do next and what's gonna happen to his company. That there's a pool of people that are there for the mess and for the tea, and there's some people who are there for
Mm.
Punk, and there's some people who are hate watching. So honestly, I think that he does have a huge role, and I think that Tony Khan knows
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
So regardless of how messy this man can be, like there's like a thrill. There's a weird thrill in watching for not only what's going on with the show. Cause I do think that they're doing a decent job with what's going on with the show, but just like again that little backstage
Oh, absolutely.
tea, you know. So I think it all ties together.
Listen, yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. As the great Eric Bischoff said, controversy creates cash, and I think that just like that whole speculation around him and him returning definitely has generated interest. But we want to know how you guys feel about All In, All In. I was about to say All Out because I'm so used to saying All Out. How do you feel about All
Yeah,
In
I
selling
tripped up too.
43,000 tickets in 32 hours? That's an insane number. Congratulations to AEW. But we're going to move on to the next topic because speaking of AEW, it looks like some major changes have been made to AEW's programming. According to multiple sources, All Elite Wrestling will be canceling Dark and Dark Elevation in a new agreement with Warner Brothers surrounding their new Saturday program, AEW Collision. In said agreement, it says that All Elite Wrestling's programming will now be exclusive to Warner Brothers Discovery. How do you feel about this move? About them? It appears that the Saturday program is in motion and that Dark and Dark Elevation have been axed. So, what is your opinion on this?
I mean, I'm not surprised if they want to be taken seriously as like a mainstream company. You need to get off of
Mm,
YouTube. Sorry, I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and there's nothing wrong if you did enjoy it. By the way, it's just that that was obviously like a little tester or a prototype for them to see like what they could do in terms of creating another program. And I feel like it's better for the talent as well to I don't know, I feel like that they're being taken more seriously and be placed on an actual
mm,
program to be watched rather than being viewed on YouTube. So I mean, I think I think what they're doing is good. You know, I think that they're otherwise demonstrating that they're expanding. Um, and I just my only issue, I guess, is like the Saturday placement because how many people are really actually watching on a Saturday? Considering right now, right this moment, like the sun's coming out. Do they really think they're going to catch many people sitting at home on a
mm.
Saturday to watch this show? During the week, I understand you got a lot of 9 to 5 people or people who are coming back from school or whatnot, and they just want to chill and ease up and kick back, watch the wrestling, fall asleep. I feel like that's a weird time
Mm.
frame. Just Saturday while it's the season that it is. I'm not against it. It's just that like I wonder how their numbers are going to
Mm-hmm.
be, and I wonder what time slot they're gonna get because their biggest downfall with Rampage was the
Yeah.
time slot. So it's like if they do Saturday, are they gonna do an earlier time? Like that's my biggest
Mm.
question. But what do you think about all this?
So I think this is obviously a great move for them. Anytime I see anything pertaining to AEW and Warner Brothers, it always seems like Warner Brothers wants more AEW. And if they want more
Yeah.
AEW, that means that they're running them a big bag. And so for that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for them. Now, as it pertains to like
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night wrestling, I definitely see your case as far as like the time slot and the day being questionable. However, we do have to remember that at one point there was a market for Saturday wrestling. Obviously, WWE, you had Saturday night's main event. WCW had, WCW Saturday night. So there's obviously like that lineage of Saturday night wrestling. And I think that, because Tony Khan is a fan of wrestling at heart, he wants to bring that dynamic back. And so because of that, I can totally understand why he would try to go for a programming like this. Now, I do believe based on more details that we receive, I'm eager to see, how long this program is going to be, what are going to be some standout features, what's the intention behind it? Because it's very, very clear that in the spectrum of AEW programming, Dynamite is their Raw and Rampage is their SmackDown. So what is Collision going to be, if that makes sense? But keep going. What were you going to say?
My other thing too, I was just wondering because like, what do they do when WWE has a pay per view on a
They're
Saturday?
going to compete.
Like, are they gonna up their show on purpose and make it feel like it's a pay per view, just be petty? Like, that's the tea I want to see.
Well, I feel like they can do that, or they've been also very big into like these battle of the belt kind of supercard shows that they've been doing. So I can see them
Mm,
kind of like scrapping Collision on a Saturday whenever it's a WWE pay per view and just doing like a battle of the belts.
yeah,
It's possible.
there's a lot to
It's
play with here.
possible.
It's like it's so risky, but it's messy in all the right ways. So I'm very curious to see what the execution is gonna
Exactly.
be.
Nah, I 100% agree. But at the end of the day, I'm actually really really happy because this just means that like Warner Brothers is just very interested in the product, and that just means more money. But I want to know how you guys feel about this move of a Saturday night program, AEW Dark, and Elevation being scrapped. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss Dark and Dark Elevation because it was fun. But let us know in the comments how you feel about Dark and Elevation being scrapped and Collision potentially moving to Saturday night. But moving on, as we were talking about wrestling, the WWE draft is complete. Both shows now have their own rosters. Based on the picks, I wanted to know which show was the strongest. Is it SmackDown or is it Raw? I also kind of wanted to know your take as far as some of the picks that we saw during the WWE draft this year.
I see. I had to make a whole list, and I did not realize how many people are signed to the show because I feel like when I watch as a fan, I see like the same
Oh
15
yeah.
faces. But when I sat there and wrote it out, I was like, wow, they have a jam-packed roster. Okay, yeah. The first thing that raised my eyebrow, I know that they 1 year swapped Becky and Charlotte, and then they had a weird belt exchange. I found that weird that they did that with Bianca and
Mm-hmm.
Rhea. So that was the first thing I wanted to attack. Why do you think that they're doing this again? Is it a Fox decision? Um, what is the purpose, and what do you think they're going to do in terms of switching the women?
So I
Do you
think
think
they
they're going to do an awkward belt
I
exchange
think they
again?
are going to do the awkward belt exchange. Also, it was so funny because I saw on Twitter, because I want to know your point on this too. I saw on Twitter where they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about the draft and they were like, well, Bianca on Raw has been getting a little stale. And I was like, you know what? I can see that Bianca on Raw has been getting a little stale. Rhea on SmackDown has been getting a little stale. And I feel like that swap is going to happen as far as like the championship swap. So I think it benefits both parties. Rhea gets to work with a new set of talent as a champion. Bianca gets to work with a new set of talent as a champion. And then on top of that, the title exchange is going to lead between a segment between Bianca and Rhea, which gives another layer to their story of them crossing paths. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But what were you going to
Yeah,
say?
sorry, go ahead. No, it's just that okay. I don't know why, but in my head, when I look at like SmackDown, I look at Raw, I feel like the belts and the brands have their own
Mm,
personalities, and I don't know why. It just feels like you're kind of taking away the character that comes with
mm,
each belt by just feeling like you could easily drop the champion to the other brand and pull that away. Because back then it used to be like a whole war with fans on what's better,
right.
SmackDown or Raw. That's kind of what made like Survivor Series more spicy to
Mm-hmm.
watch. So I just feel like it's a little bit odd because while I do completely agree that it is getting stale with the both of them, it just kind of feels a little bit like you are taking away just a little bit of the pizzazz or the character separation that comes with being someone that represents Raw versus SmackDown, where you just make it a simple belt exchange. I feel like there should be like something added in between if you're going to swap them. I just punched my mic. You're gonna swap them. What do you
I have an
think?
idea. What if they rebranded the WWE Women's Championships? What if they did a WWE Women's Championship and a WWE World Women's Championship? Or like a World Women's Championship and a WWE Women's Championship?
that that's what they need actually, because I feel like the only difference is just the colors, and that's how they
Mm-hmm.
treat it. Oh, you're the red brand, the red brand or the
The
blue
Blood
brand.
Brand?
I feel like that would be. I feel like that is what's needed for the women's championship, just because that's why I feel like fans were mad at first when we saw Charlotte and Becky
Yeah.
do this. So again, I want to see how they're going to go about the belt exchange. Like I feel like if they were paying attention to us and how upset we were about how awkward that belt exchange was, then I would hope that they would try to make it make sense and make the transition mean something. Of course, I expect Bianca and Rhea to go toe to toe eventually again, but I just feel like you need to do something here to not take away the importance of what each belt
Means.
means in terms of representing the brand. So that was my
Mm.
only ick. And then I noticed we had a lot of call ups. There was the NXT Women's Champion, Tag Team Champion, sorry, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, I might be pronouncing it wrong, but they got called up. I found that to be very interesting because they were the only people to be called up, but Indy was, and Indy just
Yeah.
got the belt. So what was the purpose of slapping the belt on her just to call her up? Like I get it, but I don't get it.
I may have an idea. I don't know. And first of all, I want to say I agree with you. I don't know why they would put the belt on her just so that she can move up to the main roster and then would have to vacate the belt. But
Yeah.
on the other side of that, it kind of incentivizes NXT's championships that the people
Mm.
who have the belt around the time of the draft get called up. It kind of makes the stakes higher, if you will. So I can see it from that
Yes.
perspective, but I don't, like you said, I don't know why they didn't I don't know why they just put the belts on them just to take it off. Pause.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that it happened to the tag team champions, you know,
Yeah.
because they had it like, at least for some degree, but just to give the belt to someone recently and then to call them up, it's odd. It kind of reminded me when Becky retained at Mania and then she announced that she was pregnant and then she just gave the belt away and then everyone's like, well, why did you not just let
Right.
you win if you were pregnant? You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of energy he was giving me, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I know that Shawn Michaels is very, very high on indie for whatever reason because I personally just don't see it, but you know, if you like indie, you like indie. I feel like they're like, all right, like she's been trying, she's been doing her best, so let's just give her this belt, so it's on her record that she
Right.
got it, and then call her up. But either way, it's it's awkward, it's weird, but I do like in terms for like the tag team that it's almost like a promotion, like you know. You went out on a
Right.
high.
Very true.
You don't always have to vacate the belt. Well, they are going to vacate the belt, but you didn't have to lose the belt. You
Yeah.
know, so that was interesting to me. We did have some other NXT calls, and by the way, all these people that I'm announcing were drafted to SmackDown. We also had Pretty Deadly. That made me pretty excited.
Very excited about that
Um,
pickup.
yeah, because I didn't really believe in them until they had that match with the New Day on several pay-per-views ago, and honestly, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the tag team division. But the person I think I was the most excited for that was an NXT call-up was definitely Grayson Waller.
Yes.
We need a messy heel other than Roman. Seth is a little bit of a tweener, you know, but I feel like we need another messy heel, and I would love to see Grayson Waller just cause havoc. And for some reason, I would love to see him with Seth, but Seth is on the other freaking
Right.
brand. It's on Raw. That kind of pissed me off. I was like, that's the first thing I wanted to see. It's the very first thing I wanted to see. And then as far as the other NXT call ups that I saw, I mean there was Katana and
Mm.
Kaden. We had Indus Share being grouped with Ginger Mahal. We also had Odyssey Jones, which some people like that, some people did
Right.
not like that for whatever reason. But the other thing I wanted to just mention that I found weird. Why do you think they have free agents? Why do they implement this whole free agent thing?
I think I personally don't know why they implemented the free agents. However, I'm noticing that all the people that were considered free agents are people that can work with anybody. It's Brock Lesnar,
Really?
it's Dolph Ziggler.
Hmm.
Like Dolph is one of those guys, once again, you put them in the ring with anybody,
Yeah.
they're gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna produce a banger. So I think it was just for the sake of flexibility more than anything. You know what I mean?
But they even try to make it seem like it's not a bad thing to be a free agent by saying that MVP was the reason why Omos had pulled to be a
Mm.
free agent. Like it was an executive decision that
Right.
he made. You know, so I found that kind of interesting because when I first saw Omos, I didn't think he would be taken so seriously in WWE off of the way he was presented in the beginning with AJ. But like his evolution has been very interesting to me, just because now I feel like he's getting like the Brock
Yeah,
rub.
he is.
Like literally, like they're kind of converting MVP to the exact equivalent of Paul Heyman, which is a great thing because I feel like down the line, maybe they would probably try to put a manager and client against manager and client with Roman and Paul versus MVP
That
and
would be fun.
Omos, which I think is kind of interesting. And I'm kind of getting behind this. I like the representation that comes with it. I love MVP very much. I feel like he's a very underrated manager, and he does not get enough flowers for what he's been doing for any person that he's been beside. Like he literally just turns them
He
into
does.
gold. But yeah, I do agree what you said about the free agent thing because Ali, Ziggler, Wagner. Oh yeah, you're a big Von Wagner fan. How do you feel about that?
Ah,
No,
am I a big Von Wagner fan?
I thought you liked
I
him.
think I did. It was
Okay,
weird
why let me
because
know.
like he was like cool, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I like lost. I think you know what it was because he wasn't on TV as much. It was just like what happened to Von Wagner. But
Mhm.
him being a free agent makes sense. Like I just feel like the people that are free agents are guys that need that flexibility more than anything. I think Brock is one of those people.
Okay.
Dolph is one of those people. Listen, Dolph,
Mhm.
let me tell you something about Dolph. Dolph has been finessing the E out of a check for like a good, and
Yeah.
he's just like, oh, y'all want me like,
Yeah.
and he's just one of those like, all right, like you want me to be a free agent, I'll be a free agent. Like he's getting his bag regardless. He's just, oh my god, I love Dolph Ziggler, but
Nah, I love Dolph. And like the few times he's been on TV, it's always something that's memorable. Like I still
it
quote, "It should
should
have
have
been
been
me."
me.
Like I still quote that to this day because he's just entertaining as fuck, man. I love him. But one of my biggest eyebrow raisers as well was, all right. So y'all know that I stopped watching WWE because I'm still mourning the loss of Cody Rhodes, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe just maybe they'll give my boy a chance again. But they separated him and Roman. Cody is on Raw and Roman and the rest of the bloodline on SmackDown, which means I'll never see Cody get the big one ever again. And I don't know how to feel about that. Go on.
I
I know you got something to say.
I think they're gonna find a way to make this, like, you know what it is. Once again, like I was trying to figure out like why these things were happening, as far as like Cody and
Yes.
and Roman being separated, and then I forgot how dramatic Cody is in his storytelling. And I
True.
know for a fact that he's going to find a way for it to be him and Roman somehow, some way. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be January, and Cody's just gonna come out bloody battered on a program he wasn't drafted to, and look Roman in his eyes and be like, "I want you." And then we're gonna be like, "How did we get here?" And then we're gonna call back to this moment
Right.
and be like, he figured out
Okay.
a way. He's gonna figure out a
I
way
find that
because
interesting.
I feel like also just like his, like the way that Flair and Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, told a story with their multi-year rivalry. I feel like Roman and Cody want that vibe. And so if you know anything about
Mm.
Flair and Dusty, we're talking about like people that were traveling the country. One was getting away from the other. It was the chase. And I feel like
One was getting away
the
from the other. That's
separation
funny.
of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is only going to intensify the chase that Cody's going to have after him.
Mm.
So I think that I don't know how they're going to do it. I just know Cody, his dramatic behind, is going to find a way for it to be him and Roman. What are you going to say? Good.
No, 'cause I was wondering, do you think he's going to see gold before he gets to Roman, or do you think they're going to play out this long thing where he's not going to get the belt until he takes it off of Roman to make it more heartfelt for the fans, since they could not create that
I
moment
think that
between them?
they're gonna play the long game, because I feel like if he were to get gold, it would cheapen the value of him going after Roman. Like I think his story, like I said, his
Mm.
story is beating Roman. His story used to be just getting the world title, right? That was the
Yeah.
whole thing. It was like he's gonna be a world champion because Dusty passed away before he was able to see him be the world champion, right? I feel like it used to just be the fact that it was the world champion, but because of the way that Mania ended, now the goal is I want to beat Roman to be world champion. Because of how it ended, it was like no, no, no. It's like nah, I have to beat you because you were the one that took away my moment. You and the bloodline took away my moment. So now it's bigger than just the world title. I have to beat you for this. So that's
That's true.
my little thing.
Yeah. Well, out of the two brands that I think has to me the more enticing people that I want to see work, it's definitely SmackDown. It didn't shock me though. Just in general, SmackDown literally has. I mean, you have the Bloodline, which obviously their
Mm-hmm.
money. You have Bianca, Street Profits. You got the OC going. Um, again, you have the NXT call. A lot of NXT calls actually went to SmackDown. Of course, you got Ray with LWO. Duh. You know. Um, and yeah, I'm just excited to see Cameron Grimes, Pretty Deadly, and Grayson Waller. So I feel like out of the two, when I'm just looking off of that, I feel like SmackDown to me is still the more interesting show, but that still doesn't shock me. Did you think out of the two, one brand might be better than the other, or there are certain faces that you're excited to see be drafted?
I think that the SmackDown roster is more stacked than the Raw roster. However,
Yeah.
because of the people that are on Raw, it's going to give them a chance to expand even more. For example, I
Hmm.
think that Cody being on Raw and Roman being on SmackDown is actually great because now Cody is at the absolute top of the flagship show. And
Mm.
I think once again, it's because of his loss to it's because of his feud with Roman, but also his loss to Roman. Even regardless of who wins this world championship, Cody is still going to be the guy on Raw because of the story that he's
Mm.
involved in and the investment that the fans have had in him for the better part of a year and change. So I think that that's going to be great for him. I think that Rhea being on Raw is going to be great for her. Um, but I do think that SmackDown has a stacked roster. It's very much giving um, the SmackDown that was when Paul Heyman was like creatively in charge. It had like your big dogs, it had like your captivating women, it had a bunch of young talent that you can kind of like utilize accordingly. So this is going to be good. This is going to be interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Interesting. All
Didn't
right.
know if you had anything else to add, but if not, let us know about how y'all feel about the WWE draft or whatever. But we are moving on. So, speaking of a major shakeup, it looks like there's an NFL superstar that wants to join the WWE or at least make an appearance on TMZ Sports. Travis Kelsey, Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, um, talked briefly about how he has been in talks with The Miz about making a WWE appearance in the near future. Just wanted to know, how would you feel about a potential appearance from Travis Kelsey? By the way, for reference, he was the one that told the mayor of Cincinnati to know his role and shut his mouth after he won a football game.
Oh, absolutely not. He said, "Now look at the
but
Travis
but
Kelsey."
I wanted to know, how would you feel about a potential Travis Kelsey appearance in WWE?
I mean, again, Miz has like the best role in WWE. Like he literally gets all the like the sports entertainment
Mm,
parts. Literally, he doesn't have to be a good wrestler. He doesn't have to be a title picture guy. He just gets to do all the fun stuff. Like from beginning to end, this man was being a host for the Diva Search around a bunch of badass models and big titty girls. And now he's just working with
right.
celebrities. Like literally, and then he married one of the big titty girls. Like what? He literally has the best spot in this entire company.
This is chilling.
Shout out to the Miz. Yo, shout out to the Miz. Can I have his job? Shit, this is great. This is great. Can you
He
what?
said, "Where do I sign up?
When do
Where's the
I sign
application,
up?
sir?"
For real, I could have had me a Layla by now. Y'all know how I feel about Layla, but still, like he has the best freaking role, and honestly, like that, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Any segment with the Miz is fun because obviously um he's not like a pro wrestler or anything, but I feel like anytime like it comes to like an outsider or anything mainstream, the Miz just makes everything just fun for
Hmm.
everybody. I mean, he literally somehow made it work with Snoop Dogg, despite how god awful that whole setup was at WrestleMania. But he just makes everything just work, whether you like him or
Mm.
not. So I mean, it's good on him. Like I said, WWE really like loves this
Mm.
guy. Like I don't know what he did. I don't know what kind of relationship he has with Vince, but he literally like gets all the best parts of working for this company. Now I don't know too much about this guy. I know you just gave me like a little brief that he won at a Super Bowl and he's representing Kansas City. What else is there? Why do you think that they selected him of all
Travis
people
Kelsey.
to? Yeah,
So
like
he
why?
is our. I mean, right now, when we look at who Travis Kelsey is as an athlete, he is a tight end on arguably one of the best football teams we've seen in the past 5 years. He's a tight end.
Right.
He's considered probably one of the best, if not the best, tight end of his generation. He's a Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
champion. Seems to be like a very like engaging, friendly, charismatic guy. You know what he is? When you listen to him talk, if you don't listen to Travis Kelsey, I would say listen to him talk. He's very, very, very charismatic. He's almost he's he him and Pat McAfee are like in the same boat as far as charisma. And I believe that because of that charisma, and he's a great looking human being, that can translate over very well with WWE. Now, as far as The Miz
Mm.
potentially working with him, like you said, like The Miz is the quintessential moment maker in the WWE. There have been times where he's been
Yeah.
put in the worst possible situations or situations that probably wouldn't have worked for anyone else, but he finds a way to make it work. So if there were to be anyone that he works with in WWE, it should be The Miz. So
Bullet point on the Miz, like it's kind of crazy because I kind of like look at him kind of like Seth Rollins is, but like Seth Rollins is like the best
yeah.
overall wrestler in WWE. But like you go through Seth Rollins and like you just go through the Seth Rollins machine in general, and you just come out with
Mm-hmm.
gold. And then Miz just mastered like the sports entertainment part of WWE, and it's ironic because like they're the best match from the Miz came out of Seth, but I look at them as being like the same but
I
different.
think the best match came from Miz and Ziggler. Yes,
Really?
Miz's best match I think was Miz's best match, and his best story was against Ziggler for the Intercontinental title in 2016, in my opinion.
Okay,
But
that's debatable. It's just that the match, that Backlash with Seth and Miz, that threw me off because I didn't expect it to
to be
be
that
that good.
tough,
There was
yeah.
no reason for it to be that good. I don't even think the story went that deep for it to have like warranted such a good match. But I don't know. That's just like that's my little tidbit on the Miz, man. I just feel like he is like in terms of sports entertainment, he's like the Seth
Mm,
Rollins for WWE at
makes
least.
sense.
But let's move on.
That makes complete sense. But definitely want to get y'all views on this. How do you feel about um I don't know why I slipped my mind. How would you feel about Travis Kelsey popping out in the WWE? Let us know in the comments below. But we're about to get into what? Backlash predictions. Now, before we get into the
All right.
predictions, just letting y'all know right now that um we will be doing our space. So on, Saturday. So you can hold us accountable to these predictions or not. It's up to you. But anyway,
You can bully me. It's okay.
but yes, but yeah, let's get into these predictions. So first, Seth Rollins versus Omos. Who do you have?
I feel like they really want to establish Omaz, and I feel like we kind of all accepted that. Wait, this is not going towards
Yeah, it's
anything.
not going towards anything. Yeah,
It's not going towards anything at all. I feel like they're still establishing Omaz, so I'm gonna give it to him just because we said this many times before. Steph is in a position where it's just kind of like he's so cool, he's so awesome, he's still that guy, whether he wins or loses. So I'm gonna give it to Omaz just because they're still building him up to be like this larger than life
Hmm.
character.
I agree with you. I'm gonna go with Omos as well. I feel like because of how Seth wanted Mania versus how Omos lost at Mania, I feel like Omos, based on the fact that he's being built as this larger than life superstar, that he needs to be treated as that larger than life superstar, and he needs to get a win over a guy who's accomplished, well credited, well established. And I think that Seth Rollins is going to put him over. Plus, once again, I don't think that a loss can affect Seth Rollins at all, especially a loss to someone like
Mm-hmm.
Omos. But yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna move on to the next match. We got a street fight with Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. Who do we have?
Oh, come on now. You know Bad Bunny has to go over. And if he does lose, it has to be like in a fluke way to where you don't make it look like Bad Bunny's
Mm,
weak. But if he does lose, is well, actually, no. No, you can't make him lose, bitch. It's
yeah.
Puerto Rico. You can't. Sorry. I just thought about it. Yeah, no, he's not obviously a permanent. He's just there for pretty much. He's there for the
Right.
spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Like he's there for the spotlight. He's there for the star power. It'd be a shame if Bad Bunny lost. And plus, Judgment Day's in a position where it's just like it's not like it's going to affect
The group.
the faction at all if they lose. They're still going to be a group as such. So this is just a match to have fun and to represent Puerto Rico. So yeah, Bad Bunny. Duh.
I agree with you there. I think Bad Bunny's going to win. There's no way you're going to have a WWE Premium Live event in Puerto Rico in a stadium and Bad Bunny not win. Like, Bad Bunny is arguably the biggest, just the he's the biggest, one of the biggest artists in the world, biggest Latin music artist in the world. And this is a man that
Mm-hmm.
has done stadium shows in Puerto Rico and has sold it out. So I know they're going to come out in
Mm-hmm.
droves just for Bad Bunny. And because of that, I think that he's going to win. So, but moving on from that match, also, I'm really glad they didn't do like a Judgment Day versus LWO thing because
That would
I
piss
feel
me
like
off.
LWO would have had to go over, and that wouldn't have put Judgment Day in the best light, considering Finn Balor wants to go for the world title, and Rhea has the women's championship, and I can see Dominic even going for a U.S. title. But that's another discussion for another day. But moving on from that, we have the United States Championship. We have Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. Who do we have?
Mm, I want to say Bobby Lashley, but for some reason this company likes Austin
Mm.
Theory, so I feel like he's going to retain. To retain. What do you think?
I am. I think. Ooh, really? Update has expired. Sorry, something just. All right, cool. Um, I think that we're gonna get Austin Theory to win. I think he retains. However, I am expecting a breakout performance from Bronson Reed. I feel like this is going to be a match where his strengths are going to be severely highlighted, and him and Bobby are going to have a couple of exchanges that are going to really highlight his strength, his agility, who he is as an athlete. Because I think that Bronson Reed is, ever since being brought back to WWE, he's been one of the most underrated talents that they have, and I don't think that he's just been able to be shown in the best light. But now he does. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very looking forward to seeing this. But I think that Austin Theory is going to retain. And now for the Raw Women's Championship, we have Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. This is going to be a banger. I'm really, really excited for this match. But who do you think is going to take it?
Yeah, the match is gonna slap, but there's no way that they're going to at all take the belt off of both. I guess I'm making my prediction now, but Rhea and Bianca both aren't losing the belt until you know sometime after they have their 1v1 that everyone's looking for. I don't see Io Sky holding gold for quite some
Mm,
time. Even though I love her, I adore her. I just don't know. I don't think this company would know how to book her as a champion by themselves, seeing how they didn't know how to build anything strong with Asuka.
mm,
Just yeah, I don't see it. I think this is just to put a really good match on both their resumes, especially Bianca's
mm.
resume, because it's rare that Bianca really goes against people that are like aerial fighters or whatnot. And we saw the banger that she just put out with Oscar recently. I just feel like it's just a pad of her resume. But I'm excited for it. I really am. I think it's gonna be a very good match. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be different. What do you think?
I think Bianca's going to win. But I do think that this is going to be a great match that's going to continue this unspoken tension and damage control. Um, because once again, this is someone in Bait and Bianca that Bailey hasn't beaten. You know what I mean? During the time that she was with Damage Control and going pursuing Bianca, when it came down to that title, she didn't win. Um, but I think that this is a great opportunity to kind of create scenarios and situations that can intensify the tension between EO and the rest of the group. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that. But now, speaking of the Raw Women's Championship, we got the SmackDown Women's Championship in Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. I, yeah, want to know who you think is going to win.
Selena's never getting gold, as far as I know. I'm not, and it's not to even laugh in her face. It's just that like she has her role. It's the best way to put it. She has her role, and I think that this company likes her, but I don't think that they view her as someone that is meant to really be in a to to have a championship goal. To
Mm,
be honest, I feel like this is just something to again the same way they're going to pad up Bianca's resume with a good match with Io. With Rhea Ripley, this match is just to clearly demonstrate her
mm-hmm.
strength because she's so little. You could definitely fling Zelina Vega around. She's like what 4'10", 4'11". Um, but yeah, she could lose, but it's not a loss for
Mm.
LWO. I mean, like she's in a very good spot. This is just something to show off Rhea's strength. That's all.
I think that Ray is going to win. However, I do think this is going to be one of those. I think the match is going to be very, very similar to AJ versus Brock in the sense that like Rhea is going to be dominant and powerful, but she's going to slip up and make a mistake, and then Zelina's going to capitalize, and then Zelina is going to have a couple moments where it's like, oh my god, did she just win? Oh my God, that was so close. And I feel like she's gonna have those moments. And I'm just really, really happy for Selena. Like, she's going to Puerto Rico, like, as a Puerto Rican woman from Queens, to be able to fight in Puerto Rico for a championship. I think that that's going to be an amazing experience for her, and I'm very, very happy for her. But I think that Rhea
Mm-hmm.
is definitely going to win. But you know, that merch is going to go. That merch is going to slap when they get to Puerto Rico. But then we have the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. Who do you think is going to win?
Mm. Let me look at it again. I, hmm, I don't know.
Hmm.
I actually don't know. I make it go either way. No, actually, no. I think they're gonna hold on to it. I think they're gonna. Yeah, I think it's gonna just stay with Kevin Owens and Sammy.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
You think they're going to Kevin? I agree. I think the Bloodline's going to lose. I think they're going to continue this dynamic of silence between Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline, as far as like the Usos and stuff like that. And I think that this is a great way to kind of continue that tension and like kind of gives Roman a reason to not click up with them, because it's like y'all are disgracing the family name. Y'all ain't doing da 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 da. So I think that Matt Riddle, KO, and Sammy are going to win this one.
What do you think they're gonna wrap up this Bloodline storyline though?
It's going to be a
Like,
minute. I think that it's going to be a minute. I think that we're in the middle, and this is the reason why I keep thinking that Roman and Cody are going to go at it again,
Romeo.
because I think that the bloodline is going to completely collapse within the next year. I think that they're setting the stage for the separation of the Usos from the bloodline, and then the next is going to be Solo from the bloodline, and it's just going to be like Solo and the Usos together, because they're all brothers in real life. And then it's just going to be Roman and Paul by themselves, and that's going to allow Cody the opportunity to re-enter his scene so that they can have a proper one-on-one. But I do think that this is going to be, I think they're going to wrap it up within the year. But I think they're going to use this year to kind of break them apart formally. So
Do you think Steph's gonna have a role in this?
that would be interesting.
Just because Roman can't keep a faction, family, friends. I would love to see someone throw that shade at him.
I think that Seth can be the one that throws that shade, but I don't know if Seth's going to have a role, because I think they're going to be on different programs. Because I think that
Oh yeah.
because I think Seth is going to win the world title, but we'll see. We
Everything is circle back.
I want them to,
But yes.
but the next match and the last match, Brock Lesnar versus Cody. Who do you have?
Where were we at? We were at who versus
Brock
Lesnar
and Cody,
versus
yeah.
Cody. I feel like Cody can't. Cody's not allowed to lose. At least
Yeah.
for me. I don't know. It could be because I'm biased, but I feel like Cody's not allowed to lose after
Mania.
taking a L at Mania. I feel like he needs to like build back his wins and show that he's not a champion, but he's willing to be a fighting champion and work his way back up the ranks. So I feel like A, this match is gonna go on early, so Brock will go home. But I also feel like B, Cody has to go over, and that again, if Brock loses, it's really not a big deal. But I'm expecting this to be a really good match. Like, this is gonna be a classic, in my personal opinion. I'm not expecting Brock to sell as much. I'm expecting Cody to sell a lot, but I'm expecting like a babyface comeback. Like, it's gonna be a fun match to watch.
I agree. I think this is going to be a fun match. I got Cody winning this. I think that from now until whenever, I think that Cody is going to be in matches that kind of solidifies himself as a main eventer and someone that can challenge for Roman's title. And I feel like that's going to include him beating a lot of the people that Roman either had to beat or go through in order to kind of sustain his spot. I can see Cody I can see Cody beating Brock. I can see Cody against Edge. I can see Cody against, a bunch of people that Roman had to go through to kind of solidify his reign in order for Cody to kind of send that message of like, hey, I'm a world champion caliber. Like, I'm a world championship contender, and I want to beat Roman for the world title. So that's my predictions. And those are our predictions. Let us know how you feel in the comments about our predictions, and definitely let us know in the space this Saturday. But that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week.